Knock, knock, everybody. Derick Van Ness here, wealth strategist, investor, and life adventurer. Today we're going to talk about how do you break the cycle of being broke. Now here's the deal. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly, step by step, what to do to break the cycle of being broke, and all you're going to have to do is do it. However, there's a lot of nuances to this, and so I want to just share with you a little bit about how I figured this out over the years. Because listen, like everybody else, I started off and I came out of school and I was kind of broke and didn't really know how to make money. I had a business degree, but like what was that worth without much practical real world experience? And slowly over a couple of years, I did it wrong for a couple of years and I stayed in the broke cycle, right? And then suddenly it clicked for me that I needed to do some things different. I made some changes and honestly, I went from zero, basically having almost no money, to millionaire status in about 5 years. This was from age about 28 to 32, 33-ish. And I want to tell you guys how I did it. But here's what's even crazier. Then in 2008, 2009, I was flipping a bunch of houses and stuff, and everything crashed and I went totally down to broke again. And then I've had to rebuild it since then over the last 10 years. So I've gotten to do this twice, coming from totally broke to doing super well financially. And I want to share with you what this cycle looks like. So get out your pen and paper, get ready to take some notes. And if you haven't already, crush that like button and hit the bell. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe down below. It just really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. It makes a huge difference in how many people get to see this. So if you feel like this is valuable information, please do that and support us. We really appreciate it. Okay, so here's the first thing you got to know. There's only two kinds of people out there, and you're one of them. The two people that I'm talking about is either people who have systematic savings or people that don't have systematic savings. So what do I mean by systematic savings? Because everybody's like stock market, investments, all this other stuff, and then you're over here going, I'm just trying to pay my bills, so how does this work for you? And it really comes down to this. Systematic savings means you save money, you put money aside if you do nothing consciously. In other words, the system does it. You don't have to stop and think, hey, I should save some money this month and then I'll set it aside. Now here's why this is so important is bottom line is this, like nobody's just breaking even out there. You're either getting richer or you're going into debt. Now, I get people who argue with me about this all the time, and I'm going to say it again. You're either getting richer or you're getting poorer. Nobody, I've worked with thousands of business owners, nobody is breaking even. And here's why. Because if you think you're breaking even every single month, right? I got all my bills covered, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, but what it means is you're breaking even on the good months. The second you need braces, your car breaks down, you miss some work, something comes up, you're going negative. So what happens? If you don't have savings, that goes on a credit card, or you borrow some money somewhere to get through because you don't really have a lot of savings, right? So then next month you have your regular bills, but now you got that little payment on the credit card or whatever, and you're a little bit broker. And if everything goes right, maybe you can still cover that, right? You eat out a little bit less or whatever. But eventually another month comes along. Flat tire, something goes on and you got to come up with some extra money for something and boom, you're going negative a little more. And what happens over the course of a couple of years, and this happened to me, I was in this cycle, so this is how I know it so well, so there's no judgment here. I'm just telling you what happens. You think you're breaking even and you're going negative and you watch your credit card creeps up and creeps up and creeps up. And what happens is over time, the amount that those minimum payments and that interest working against you creates, you go negative faster and faster and faster. So it kind of goes like this, and then it just falls off a cliff. And once you get to that point, you've got so much negative interest working against you, it'll totally crush you. So if you're in the staying broke cycle, you're probably somewhere on that curve. And so I want to help you break out of that because it's very debilitating to see yourself getting in worse and worse and worse condition. You think, oh, especially for me, like I was in a sales job, I'm like, oh, I'm a little negative this month, but next month I'll make more money and I'll pay that off. And sometimes I did, but a lot more often than not, what I did was I made some more money and then I went out and I spent that extra money and I didn't pay off all the debt. So I didn't incur more debt but I did spend the extra that should have paid the debt back. And over time, I just got further and further in debt, and that was a real problem, okay? So I don't want that to happen to you. So the first thing I want you to do, step number one, is get honest with yourself about whether you're getting richer every single month or getting poorer every single month. And if you're not sure, you're getting poorer every month. I promise you, you're just not wanting to acknowledge it. So you got to kind of pull your head out of the sand, look around, and be honest with yourself. So the second thing is we need to get into the other side of the fence and systematize our savings. So how do you do that? Well, things like 401ks and IRAs are great, but for people who need to be a little bit more liquid, you're playing a little closer to the vest. And for the record, I'm not a huge fan of 401ks and IRAs for a lot of people. They're okay for some, but for a lot of people, they're not. Is you need to set up an automatic sweep out of your checking account into a savings account. If you don't have a savings account, go set it up. And then you just set up an automatic transfer. So if you get paid on the 1st and the 15th, if you get paid every 2 weeks, however you get paid, set up an automatic transfer so that it transfers at least 10% of the money that you make on your paycheck every month. Now, if you're a business owner like me, it's not quite as easy because we get money, a little bit here, 500 here, 10,000 there, 2,500 here, whatever, big chunks, small chunks, all different days. And sometimes you don't get paid for a week, and sometimes you get paid a bunch in 3 days. It's all over the place. So what I actually do, I know this isn't quite as systematic. It's a system I have, but I have to be involved, is I check my bank account every day and I transfer a certain percentage of that money into a savings account that's designated for exactly what we're talking about. So I have to do that manually because of the way I get paid. But if you just get paid on a regular paycheck, you can totally transfer that money and set it up on an automatic transfer. Your bank will totally do it super easily. So do that right now. Go set that up. Here's what will happen. Okay, so the next step is as that money gets set aside, that 10% or 20%, if you can do 20%, the more the better. But if you can't, start with 10%. The money will get saved and you'll live on the other 90%. Now, some months, especially in the very beginning, you might need to go back over to the savings account, pull some of that out so you can buy yourself some ramen noodles and get through the end of the month. And that's cool in the beginning. But here's what's going to happen over time. You're going to learn how to live on the 90, and the 10% or 20% is going to get saved over here. And it will start to build up. And in the beginning, it'll seem really slow, right? Because 10% of your monthly paycheck isn't a whole lot. But it's slowly getting there. Over time, you'll see that start to grow. And as it starts to grow, you're going to get excited about it. You may even want to try and start saving even more, up that savings if you can. Now, what you want to do is you want to build that savings. So step 3 is build that automatic savings account up to where you have 3 months worth of savings set aside. And what I mean by 3 months worth of savings is 3 months worth of expenses set aside so that you can, if you have a bad month or something, you don't go into debt anymore, right? Now, there's a caveat to this. If you've got credit cards, here's what I want you to do. First off, I want you to go and immediately negotiate, see if you can get those credit cards lowered on their interest rates. If you've got an empty credit card and you can dump from one credit card over to the other credit card and get like a 0%, 1%, 2% rate, I would do that. And then if you've got room on the card you just emptied out, maybe roll the next one over. So if you've got a bunch of credit card debt, what I would say is save 1 month worth of expenses and then start taking that 10% and start paying down the smallest credit card first. And as you pay off that first credit card, take the minimum payment you were paying toward that plus the 10% and start putting that toward the next credit card and chisel that down. And if they're all 0% interest rates, you should be able to plow through that pretty quickly. Here's the reason I'm having you do that. And nobody thinks credit cards are cool or sexy or anything like that, paying them off, is if you've got a credit card at 15%, that's like a 15% guaranteed rate of return. Plus, if you need to, you can borrow the money back out and use it for your life if you need it for an emergency. And it also increases your credit score, which is going to help you get better loans in the future, or maybe even renegotiating some of the other credit cards as you're trying to get those rates dropped. So it can really, really help out. Okay? So step 3 is build savings and pay down credit cards. Once you've got your credit cards knocked out or anything that has an interest rate higher than 7%, then you want that savings to get up to 3 months worth of savings. And then we get on the fun side, right? Now we're at the tipping point. So up to this point, every time you go out and spend money, you're incurring debt, and all of that debt is working against you, right? All those credit cards, all those payments, you're paying interest on everything that you buy. Once you pay off the debt, build up some savings by doing this systematically, and it takes some time, building some savings, then you can get on the other side to where now all of a sudden it's pushing you forward, right? You start getting that money into places where it can work for you. So you're going to build this money up inside of life insurance, and you're going to get a similar rate of return as to what you would probably get in the stock market, maybe a little bit better, but your money's going to be totally liquid the whole time so that you can now take it and put it into other things if you want to. And that's like a whole nother strategy, and we teach that whole system to people, and it's super powerful. But now you've got interest working on your side. As you're saving the money's growing, it's saving you taxes with that growth, and then you can take that money and put it to work into other things, right? Now, how to determine those other things, you'll want to watch one of my previous videos. I did one on how to pick the right investment for you, so check that out right here. But if for some reason you're not sure what to do, the other thing that I want to say here that's super, super important in this whole equation is increasing your earning potential, right? So as you're saving money, as you're growing, one of the things I want you to consider, and this is one of the only things I would ever go into debt for, is spending money on things that will increase your ability to earn. So if you getting a new certification in your job is going to help you earn more money, I would spend some money to get that certification, then start earning more money, pay that off, plus use it to pay off your debts faster. If you can get mentorships within your company, if you can learn new skill sets or improve your mindset, all of these things are great investments outside of Wall Street, outside of traditional financial products that are going to help you to be a better earner so that you can make more money. As you make more, you can save more or pay off more debt, and that's going to help you this whole time. So I don't want to skip over that piece, but it's super, super important that as you start saving more money, if you increase your income, then your savings increases, your ability to pay off debt increases. You can get over that, away from the tide swimming against you, and get swimming with the tide where interest is working for you much more quickly. And then once you get there, you don't stop saving. You keep taking your savings, putting it in there where it continues to grow, and it will just push you forward. The longer you can stay in that part of the cycle, it does this whole exponential curve thing and just shoots through the ceiling. So I want to see you do that. Okay, so the step-by-steps are: realize, are you a saver or spender? Begin saving systematically. Get 1 month if you have some debt, and then pay off the debts. If not, then get up to 3 months worth of expenses saved up. Then you can start deploying that money. We think our life insurance banking strategy is a great choice, but there are other really good options out there. And then from there, you can deploy that money into the other things. And when you're investing in things outside of yourself or your business, I think you should invest in things you know about, things you care about, and things you control, right? You've heard me say this over and over again, but if you know about it, your chances of success are way better. If you care about it, you're going to pay attention, so you're going to get better results. And if you have control, if things start to go wrong, you can eject your money, you can change the way that things are working, you can do things to recoup your losses or increase your gains. It's super, super important. So it makes a huge difference. And there's, like I said, there's a whole nother video that you can check out on how to pick the right investment for you. Anyway, if you do this, I promise you within 1, 2, 3 years, depending on how far in debt you are, what your struggles are, you'll be increasing your earning potential, increasing your savings, increasing your growth, and this thing just snowballs like crazy. In the very beginning, it feels like it's not working, but it's like being in the gym. You're like lifting the little tiny weights and you feel like you're getting nowhere. But as you get stronger, you can lift bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger weights, and the bigger the weights, the faster your muscles grow. The faster they grow, the more you can jump up in weights. Same thing happens with your money. You earn more so you can save more, you save more so you earn more, and they just stack on top of each other. What most people miss in there is the savings piece. They try and go right to investing, they don't pay off debt, so they're making 6 or 7 or 8% in the stock market and losing 15 on credit cards, and they wonder why they can't get ahead. That's the problem. So if you take those steps, you go right through them, I promise you it's going to totally turn around what's going on with you financially. If you're on the financial treadmill and you need help with this, because a lot of people do, you can always reach out to us. We'd love to help you out. Just drop a comment down below with any questions you have, and I'd be happy to help you. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It makes a big difference for us in this channel and how we get things out to the world. So we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't checked it out already, check out the video on how to pick the best investment for you, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.